It's better to die for an idea that will live than to live for an idea that will die. This quote embodies the voice South Africa needed after the imprisonment of Nelson Mandela, Robert Sobukwe, and Walter Sisulu, and the exile of Oliver Tambo in the 1960s. In this political vacuum, Biko began to mobilize and politicize the youth to resist apartheid oppression in the country. Welcome to Peak World. If you're new, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Today, we focus on the life of Steve Biko. Steve Bantu Biko was born in Tarkastad in the Transkei, now Eastern Cape, on December 18, 1946. He was the third child of Mzingai Biko and Nokuzola Masethi. His father, Mzingai, worked as a policeman and later as a clerk. An intelligent man, he was also enrolled at the University of South Africa, UNISA, but passed away in 1950 before completing his law degree. Steve was only 4 at the time. His mother, Nokuzola, raised the children on her own, working as a cook at Gray's Hospital. In 1948, the family had moved to Ginsburg Township, where they eventually owned a house, despite Nokuzola's meager income as a domestic worker. Steve's older brother Kaya was politically active and started a rugby club called Sea Lions, which later became the Star of Hope Rugby Club. Kaya was well-read and well-spoken, becoming a reporter for the school newspaper at Forbes Grant School. He joined the local branch of the Pan-Africanist Congress, PAC, a political group with a strong presence in the area. Steve was known as a joker by his friends. He attended Charles Morgan Higher Primary School, and his teacher, Damzi Monaheng, recognizing his intelligence, recommended he skip Standard 4 and be promoted to Standard 5, Grade 7. Though his friends never saw him study, he was one of the brightest kids in his class and often helped others with their lessons. After passing Standard 6 in 1959, he went to Forbes Grant in 1960. There, he befriended Larry Bekwa. Both completed their junior certificate, grade 10, in 1962. Steve then went to Lovedale, the same school attended by prominent figures like Thabo Mbeki and Chris Hani. You can watch videos of them on this channel. In April, the police came to the school to arrest his brother, Kaya, who was suspected of being involved with POCO, the armed wing of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, PAC, founded by Robert Sobukwe. Both brothers were taken into custody. Kaya was charged and sentenced to 2 years, serving his time at Fort Glamorgan Jail. Steve was released but was later interrogated and subsequently expelled from Lovedale after only 3 months. This incident instilled in him a strong resentment toward white authority, which would shape his political career. After matriculating from St. Francis in 1965 with excellent grades, Steve was admitted to Durban Medical School at the University of Natal Non-European Section, UN, in 1966. He lived in the Alan Taylor Residence, the segregated quarters for black students. The black section had its own Students' Representative Council, SRC, a member of the National Union of South African Students, NUSAS. Steve was elected to the SRC in his first year and became involved in NUSAS politics. At the 1967 NUSAS conference at Rhodes University, he and other black students were housed and fed separately in accordance with the Separate Amenities Act. This segregation was a turning point. Steve delivered his regional report in isiXhosa to highlight the alienation of black students. After his motion to suspend the conference was rejected, he and his fellow black students walked out, leading to the creation of a black-only student body. Steve traveled the country to gather support for this idea. His friend, Barney Pitiana, initially opposed the idea but was swayed by Biko and became his key lieutenant. The South African Students' Organization, SASO, was founded in July 1969 at Turfloop, now the University of Limpopo. Steve was elected its first president. In his presidential address, he emphasized that South African Students' Organization SASO was not aiming to replace NUSAS, but was created to address the hypocrisy within the organization. He and Nontsikelelo, Nsiki Mashalaba, were married in December 1970 and had 2 children together, Nkosinathi, Samora, and Hlumelo. Hlumelo's mother, Ramphele, was 5 months pregnant with him when she learned that Steve Biko had been killed. The Black Consciousness Movement, BCM, which Biko led, influenced many future leaders. For example, Ramaphosa became involved in student politics and joined the South African Students' Organization, SASO, and the Black People's Convention, BPC. Other members included Terror Lakota. Sazana Dlamini-Zuma was also a member of SASO and held a leadership position as deputy president. Kio Segwale was another figure who was part of Steve Biko's Black Consciousness Movement and became a local leader of the radical South African Students Movement. To name just a few, many of these activists later joined the African National Congress, ANC, in exile, often recruited by Thabo Mbeki. Black consciousness is an attitude of the mind and a way of life, the most positive call to emanate from the black world for a long time. Its essence is the realization by the black man of the need to rally together with his brothers around the cause of their oppression, the blackness of their skin, and to operate as a group to rid themselves of the shackles that bind them to perpetual servitude. That's how the father of black consciousness defined it. In 1972, Biko was expelled from the University of Natal due to his declining grades, a result of his increasing political involvement. He then enrolled in law and political science at UNISA, subjects more relevant to his activism. He and other BCM activists also established the Black Community Program's BCPS to promote self-reliance through healthcare and education. South Africa truly needed Biko. In a new South Africa, we could perhaps build more universities, hospitals, and new cities, because Biko was doing so much with so little. Imagine if he had state power and a budget. South Africa would have become a powerful nation. In September 1972, Biko met Robert Sobukwe, the founder of the Pan-African Congress of Azania, PAC. However, his activism led to his being arrested and detained multiple times. On August 27, 1976, at the height of the Soweto uprising, he was arrested and held in solitary confinement for 101 days. The Black Consciousness Movement also launched the South African Students' Movement SASM for high school students. The leaders of the 1976 Soweto uprising, like Tibo Donald Tsietsi Mashinini, were members of SASM and were influenced by who was a leader of the Black Consciousness Movement. After the 1976 uprising, the apartheid government realized just how much of a threat Biko was. In 1977, Biko broke his banning order to travel to Cape Town. On August 18th, he was arrested at a police roadblock near Grahamstown with his friend, Peter Jones. Steve was taken to the Sanlam building in Port Elizabeth, where he was stripped and manacled. He was badly beaten, and in the early morning of September 7th, he sustained a brain hemorrhage. Despite his critical condition, police kept him shackled. Although two doctors, Ivor Lang and Benjamin Tucker, examined him, they yielded to police pressure and did not insist he be hospitalized immediately. On September 11th, Biko was driven 700 kilometers to Pretoria in the back of a van, still naked and critically ill. He died alone in his cell on the night of September 12, 1977, at the age of 30. The government claimed he died from a hunger strike, but a brave journalist, Helen Zille, risked her career to investigate. She spoke to the doctors who had examined him, and they confessed he had died from brain damage, exposing the truth about the brutality of the apartheid regime. In 1997, 5 former police officers confessed to having killed Biko and applied for amnesty to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a body convened to review atrocities committed during the apartheid years. Amnesty was denied in 1999. In 2025, South Africa's National Prosecuting Authority reopened the inquest into Biko's death. The reopening was launched on September 12th, the 48th anniversary of his death. Steve Biko's death sparked international outrage. His funeral on September 25, 1977, was attended by about 20,000 mourners and diplomats from 13 Western countries. Despite police roadblocks, thousands gathered to pay their respects. The funeral became a political rally marked by passionate denunciations of the apartheid regime. When his coffin was lowered into the grave, mourners thrust their fists into the air and shouted, "Power!" Biko's legacy continues to inspire those fighting for justice and human dignity worldwide. In South Africa, there are a few activists who have kept the legacy of Biko alive, such as Makebo Dlamini and Andile Mngxitama. These men have refused to allow his legacy to die in our memories. And that's the story of Steve Bantu Biko. His life was short, but his impact was immeasurable. He showed a generation that true liberation starts with the mind and that self-worth is the first weapon against oppression. His legacy isn't just in the history books, it's in the ongoing fight for dignity and justice around the world. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories of powerful figures who changed the course of history. We'll see you in the next one.